At the Center for Loss and Hope at YoloCares, we know that all human life is characterized by big and small losses. These losses injure the ground of our lives and our communities. Grief is inevitable and unavoidable.
It is also incurable. Some people want to be healed of their grief. But the truth is, because we love, grief will always dwell in the soft tissue, the soil of our lives. Because of love, grief lives in our bones, deep in the ground of our being.
Loving and grieving grow from the same ground. And so at the Center for Loss and Hope, we don't treat grief as a disease, a pathology of our minds and bodies and souls.
We believe grief is normal and natural as fall and winter to the springtime and summer of our lives.
And grief, as crushing as a heavy snowfall, can be every bit as creative as the crocus breaking through the permafrost.
As a response to the losses that inevitably come our way, grief is an adaptive way we naturally cope with the distressing experiences of life.
At the Center for Loss and Hope and YoloCares, I have felt such compassion from the grief specialists and from the people I've met in the groups and at the events. Because I'd had losses before. My two brothers, my sister, my father, other family members and friends. But it turned out those were minor compared to the devastation of the loss of my wife. And the world was empty. I had 39 years of a wonderful life with her. And what became more clear than ever before was that connections with people were absolutely necessary. Community I've found here has saved me, and that's not an exaggeration. And the first group I was in was one for people who'd lost a spouse or a partner. And suddenly I felt I could let myself down. It was such a huge relief to just be there. There's incredible power in sharing with a group of people who are going through similar experiences. It can give you hope.
Love and grief walk with us, hand in hand throughout our lives. Sometimes we're more present to one more than the other.
When grief lays heavy on our shoulders and the shadows of our loss gets into us, we know that grief, untended and uncared for, can shut us down and isolate us. It can even become chronic and destructive.
But tended well, grief can open us, grief can connect us, and when our grief is supported by compassionate companions, it can actually transform our lives.
For me, I hadn't started grieving yet because we were living in hope that this was her third cancer, that somehow she could pull through. She made the decision that she wanted to go into hospice. And we knew several other folks that had been in YoloCares, and they had wonderful care. And so my role was to be the caregiver who was very supportive, and that's what I was able to do. I got a referral to a therapist because I really had that need to do some more work. And then I got into the group, and the group created kind of a family for me. They opened my eyes to a lot of things that I wasn't maybe aware of as much. And it was really essential. I could come every week and sometimes talk, sometimes just listen. And I think the support of Chris Ehrman and the women in the group, allowing me to be real and allowing me to be in touch with my feelings. It's real. Embrace that. Don't run away from it. That's the stuff that's going to heal you.
One of my close friends, who is a child therapist, really recommended getting grief counseling for the girls, especially given kind of the circumstances of Jen's death. So when I came to YoloCares and I met with Elisa, and just that was my first moment of talking to someone about grief. I also felt just immediately safe talking about things that are really hard, because it was a hard situation at the time. For Livy, giving a voice to something that she can't really, probably is having a hard time understanding, The girls are experiencing something that we would never want a child to experience, but having a safe place to talk about that and everything else is, I think, super important. Because right now I'm a single adult now and parent trying to help them with a lot of things, and I'm maybe not as available and don't necessarily have the skills to talk about some of these things yet myself. And so I think for Livy, she looks forward to coming and having that special time.
I made a dolphin because my mom's spirit animal was a dolphin. She loved dolphins.
At the Center for Loss and Hope, we work with grief as a natural process, helping adults, teens, and children find ways to honor the fragile yet fertile soil of their lives. That ground often feels so broken, but we know that it's into the broken cracks of our lives that the seeds of hope can fall.
The therapy sometimes is so cold, you know, and with you, when I came with you guys, I feel like I got a warm hug. You guys, more than family. You don't know me, you don't know my kids, and you receive us with the hug that we needed. I think when that happened, it's dark, you know, and I think I see a light. My big boy, he's very shy. It's also a hard time for him. And now he's like totally different. Now with helping with Yolo, he's more like kid to control more his emotion. Now he's play guitar. I don't know what am I doing if you guys don't help me, don't exist.
My husband got sick with cancer, and I just was trying to just do everything I needed to do for him. After he died, I made it to a grief group, and I was scattered and couldn't focus on things, and grief is a trauma. It affects your brain. This is normal with grief. And I'm like, oh, of course. And it gave me permission to kind of just be a mess and be okay that I was a mess. I was looking for a community of people that I could connect with around grief, and grief is so isolating, until I found YoloCares. I am working with YoloCares to bring more awareness about grief. We are offering with YoloCares moving through grief, because another thing that I think is so important is how grief embeds in our bodies, which I'd never had any lower back problems in my entire life until the year after my husband died. And I know there is a connection there.
At the Center for Loss and Hope at YoloCares, we know that because we love, even when we've lost someone we love, there are always seeds of hope growing from the ground of grief.
Our mission is to change our personal and societal responses to grief, fostering grief-informed families, organizations, and communities.
Given the right conditions, grief can be transformative, empowering us to learn, grow, and integrate our experiences of loss in ways that foster hope and human flourishing.
That's our vision, and that's what inspires our team to give our very best every day to offer quintessential care to every patient, every family, every time. When you give to YoloCares, you're tending the fragile seeds of hope that can rise from the broken ground of lives wounded by loss.
And thank you for your compassion. You're helping make human flourishing possible again.